BMW of small, relatively affordable EVs now looks like this, the iX1. Visually it's little changed from any other third generation X1, but under the skin everything's different, with a choice of single or dual motor powertrains energised by a 64.7 kWh battery. This dual motor model offers rapid performance, remarkable traction and promises a bit more of an involving driving experience than you'd expect from a lower mid-sized EV crossover of this kind. In short, a pricey package, but one with considerable potential. Like all EVs, this one springs away from rest with alacrity, even if you opt for the feebler of the two iX1 models on offer, the base single motor front driven 204 horsepower iX1 eDrive 20 variant, which offers 247 Newton meters of torque and between 268 and 296 miles of range. Here though, we are trying the much more powerful dual motor all-wheel drive xDrive 30 version you'd ideally want, which offers 313 horsepower, 494 Newton meters of torque and between 257 and 272 miles of range. Both variants use the same 64.7 kilowatt hour, that's usable capacity, battery, and both, if our experience here is anything to go by, are much closer to a 200 mile range reading in the real world. This iX1 xDrive 30 pairs the base version's front axle mounted motor with a further one at the rear, creating the usual nominal all-wheel drive system you get on dual motor EVs. Whichever variant you choose, you'll find the motor or motors fitted, each putting out 188 horsepower, to be of a particularly sophisticated sort, combining power, electronics and transmission in a single compact housing. Despite a curb weight of over 2 tons, both iX1 models feel pretty brisk, and if you can stretch to this all-wheel drive version, you'll get quite a potent package. If you wish, the acceleration can be accompanied by a fabricated powertrain noise curated by Hollywood film composer Hans Zimmer, though if, like us, you think its audible reference is closer to a tube train than a conventional power plant, you'll be pleased to find that you can switch the sound off. Another thing you can fiddle with is brake regeneration settings, the fiercest of which is almost strong enough to allow for the kind of one-pedal driving that some rivals champion. Off-throttle retardation so strong that you hardly ever have to use the actual brake pedal. You'll usually engage this by selecting the B mode on the drive selector, though 4 other brake regen settings are available: adaptive, high, moderate or low. The Munich maker's promising more accomplished handling than class EV rivals can offer, though initially an enthusiastic owner might doubt that given the rather lifeless feel, for a BMW, of the electric steering rack. Now you can slightly improve that by selecting the car's most engaging sport driving mode, but that makes what is already a rather firm standard of ride even less pleasant on a bumpy B road. A problem which is exacerbated if you've opted for one of the largest wheel rim sizes. At least there's M adaptive suspension, a standard which uses mechanically controlled adjustable and frequently selective dampers. Once you've adjusted to the steering and the ride, there's quite a lot to like about the drive dynamics here. Now, it's a slight pity that the thick-rimmed wheel is a touch oversized, because everything else about this car feels chuckable and wieldy, much more so than most of its obvious rivals. BMW's built-in clever wheel slip limitation technology, borrowed from the larger iX, a traction management setup that allows power to be automatically transferred between front and rear wheels to maximize stability and grip. If you're used to EVs of this size scrabbling away for traction from rest under hard acceleration, that feature will be welcome. So BMW's entry-level EV is now an SUV, and unless you've spotted the bespoke badging or the charging flap, it'll be difficult to tell this one apart from its more conventional X1 combustion range stablemates, especially if you've opted for this top M Sport trim level, which comes shorn of a lot of the blue detailing that usually marks lesser iX1s apart. Right, time to take a look inside. Once behind the wheel, take a look around and you'll find very few differences over an ordinary X1. in a cabin that remains satisfyingly upmarket. Highlights including these blue inset ambient lighting strips and this double-stitched dash top. Key to this interior design is the installation of the BMW curved display, a frameless glass panel angled slightly towards the driver, incorporating a 10.25-inch central screen seamlessly joined to a 10.7-inch instrument display, the latter substituting the usual right-hand rev counter for a power meter in this iX1. Now the other thing you might immediately notice is this floating center armrest with open storage beneath and a leading edge incorporating the primary drive buttons, a knurled volume roller and a neat tab-like minimalistic gear selector. You sit only a fraction higher than you would in a family hatch on supportive seats offering an excellent all-round view. Plus there's plenty of cabin storage and impressive build quality from the Regensburg factory. Let's take a look in the back. Inside, the rear compartment turns out to be quite roomy for a lower mid-sized EV crossover with 3 full-size seats. There's certainly more stretch-out room than you get in a Volvo XC40 Recharge Pure Electric or Genesis GV60, though not quite as much as you'd find in a Tesla Model Y or a Nissan Ariya. Unfortunately, because of the battery pack beneath your feet, the seat base can't slide in the way that it can with a combustion-powered X1. As with most crossovers in this class, there's still really only comfortable space for 2 adults who will be able to use this central armrest with its integrated twin cup holders. If you do need to take a third person, you'll be aided by the largely flat floor. Right, we'll finish out back. Because, unlike some rivals like the Tesla Model Y and the Genesis GV60, there's no frunk under bonnet storage compartment, all your luggage has to go back here. Still, the powered tailgate slowly rises to reveal a usefully sized 490-litre boot. That capacity is the same as you get in a plug-in hybrid X1 and only 10 litres shy of both an ordinary X1 and BMW's much larger flagship iX EV model. If you need to get everything flat, then there's no obvious way of doing it from the boot back here. You have to go round to the side door and pull on some fabric pull ties. Now do that and there's an area that's 1,495 litres in size, 105 litres less than a conventionally engined X1 model.